Shalom leaders of the pack. Today I want to talk to you about something that is very dear to my heart. It's very dear to my heart because I have failed in it, and I see men all around the world fail in it, and it breaks relationships apart. Marriages, parent and child relationships, and even extended family relationships. The question is like this: what part of our occupation, of our business life, do we allow to seep in to our family life? How much of our stress in the business world, in our occupation, do we allow to affect our relationships with our wives, our children, our mothers, our fathers, our siblings? Now, I failed in this for many years, but maybe in a very different way to the majority of men watching this video. For the first 10 or so years of our marriage, I was involved in community leadership. I was a rabbi, I was a teacher, I was a community leader. So I didn't bring business stresses, what was going on in the financial market, into my home. I didn't have to bring stresses to do with what's happening with my secretary or with the people that I employ. I brought home the stresses of our community into our home. I was telling my wife, inadvertently, not even knowing so, that someone else's issue, someone else's pain in our community was more important to me than her pain or her issue. I was telling my kids, unintentionally, that it was more important for me to spend time and give attention to other children in the community, my students in the school, than it was to invest in them and pay attention and focus on them. Until one day, this is what happened to me. We were in South Africa for 3 years. I was a community leader. We were in charge of over 2,000 students. A very high stress occupation, job, maybe mission if you may. And every single soul, every single student, every single parent was so dear to me. Then one day I was walking down the street where we had over 200 kids turn up to our house every single Shabbat, every single Sabbath. And I was walking down the street and I took the time to speak to our eldest child, to our eldest girl. And we were walking and we were talking. She was asking me questions and I was asking her questions, having an amazing interaction. And then one student, about 15, 16 years old, came over to me and said, "Rabbi, I need to ask you a question." And I turned to my child and I said to her, "Hold on a second." And I started interacting with this student of mine. And all of a sudden it hit me. Oh my goodness. I just inadvertently, not wanting to, told my child to her face that someone else was more important to me. And not only someone else that was so rude that they interrupted a conversation I was having with my child to ask me a question. I stopped the conversation. I turned to this student and I said to her, "Hold on a second, I made a mistake. I was having a discussion with my child here. When I'm finished, I'm more than happy to talk with you and hear what you're going through." The kid said, "Not a problem," walked away and never came back to ask me that same question. So did I lose them? Was that the wrong thing to do? Who knows? But perhaps their issue was not actually as important as my interaction with my child. It was that day that I realized, and I made a deal with myself. I made a change in myself that I said, whatever occupation I have, whether it is that I am a teacher or I'm a businessman, whether I'm a financial advisor or I'm a garbage collector, I will not allow my occupation to get in the way of my relationship with my wife and children. We were having a discussion, a few men and I, on the internet a few nights ago about how many hours sleep we get. I get an average of 5 to 5 hours and 20 minutes every single night. Why is that? Because I am not willing to give up on all of the priorities in my life. I must have me and God time. I must have me and wife time. I must have me and child time. And I must work my butt off to bring the financial goals and reach the financial goals for my family. Plus, I have a mission in this world that God has given me. I'm not willing to give up on any of those. Now, I'm far from perfect. I make mistakes. But I just want to reach out to you guys and ask you to challenge yourself. What boundaries have you got to make sure that your clients, your students, your office, your secretary, whatever it is never as important as your family, as your God, as your goals in life, as your Garden of Eden?